Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCA 2015 European Pro Qualifier. Gamescom, you having a good time? They're having a good time. We're able to give out a lot of fun prizes over the break. We're ready for the last match of day 2 of this tournament. It's going to feature Heroes of the Storm, and our 2 teams are ready to go. Fnatic is fresh off a win from yesterday against Alternate Fancy, and Team Liquid unfortunately just experienced not only their first loss of this tournament, but their first loss ever at an offline event. Both teams are ready. Gamescom is ready. Let's start the match.
Welcome back, everybody, to the WCA EU Pro Qualifier. We are going into our first game here between Team Liquid and Fnatic in just a bit. Both of the teams actually with very crazy games so far. I mean, first of all, Fnatic, of course, yesterday with the 2-0 victory. And Team Liquid, the team that everybody expected to dominate here, losing without taking a map to Na'Vi.
Yeah, and that's, like Clutch said, unheard of from Liquid. Liquid, the team to be undefeated offline, going 2-0 to Na'Vi, a team who has 2 LANs experience to Liquid's 4 now, maybe 5?
Yeah, and I mean, Team Liquid, I mean, a lot of the players have been around for ages, especially when we're talking about the Moreno brothers, about Vortex and Lucifron. Here we have the lineup for Fnatic on the other hand. Of course, they had changes, we've been talking about it. Breeze and Wooby have been playing or coaching for Na'Vi before. They just recently joined Fnatic, and it's actually pretty interesting to see that all those 5 players will move into the Fnatic team house in Poland afterwards. In the case of Breeze, absolutely incredible. I mean, the kid is 16 years old. He takes a 1-year break from school, moves to Poland and plays with the team there, which is absolutely insane.
We have some visitors on our casting desk here. We have Na'Vi watching the game from our stairs. The draft has begun, and Team Liquid are going to have the first ban.
Yeah, first ban in this case. So we're having on Dragonshire, of course, a map that we haven't really seen too much. And this is one of those maps where you have to have the perfect team coordination. A Jaina ban immediately. Team Liquid has been favoring the Jaina ban in the last few weeks a lot. Fnatic now could go and ban out the Zeratul, and indeed they do. So we have the traditional second ban.
Yeah, and this is actually just a traditional first 2 bans that we've seen. Seeing a lot of target bans from the teams in this tournament, but this is just standard fare.
One of the questions, of course, is Team Liquid going to aim for the Lost Vikings once again on the map like Dragonshire? We have them first of all with the Zagara here, strongest solo laner. We've been seeing the hero all day long. The top lane is probably where we're going to see Zagara in this game. And Fnatic, they have now quite a lot of options. If we're talking about for potentially a healer being taken by them, then the Uther is of course a great hero that they can take if they want to aim for one of those Illidan compositions that Fnatic is known for.
Yeah, and there is something very important that we should talk about in this game, and that is, we've talked a lot about star players in this tournament, we talked a lot about Illidan's, we talked a lot about Zeratuls, and in this game we have 2 people who have both been proclaimed at some point to be the best melee assassin player in Europe. So it's time for a rivalry to come to head.
There's definitely a bit of a rivalry between Blackscorp and Lowell. Lowell, Illidan's the best Illidan player in Europe. Fnatic actually is using Leoric here as the first tank in the game. And we've actually seen like Na'Vi play with this hero a lot, even to the point where he got banned out because he's just so good at pushing these lanes. Johanna oftentimes played with him. But what he just said is definitely true. Blackscorp, the best Zeratul player that we have in Europe. Lowell, on the other hand, the best Illidan. The 2 of them always clashing against each other a bit. So a small rivalry, and I'm definitely sure that we're going to see at least one time a melee assassin for one of these sides, so they will be able to show their skills.
I would be amazed if that doesn't happen, although Fnatic do actually have 2 melee assassin players in the form of Wubby, who on the other occasion has filled in on a Kerrigan.
Exactly, Kerrigan is definitely his hero, so if they play Kerrigan, which they often do on smaller maps like Haunted Mines, then it is Wubby who takes charge here. Fnatic now, after they already picked Leoric, now of course they have a few options. They could go for damage, they could also just say, hey, we need a healer right now, we want to make sure that we secure ourselves that Uther, so we have the option to go into a late game melee assassin. They decide against it and go straight away for the double warrior composition, and in this case we're having with both of these heroes great lane pressure, which for Dragonshire is extremely important.
Both of these warriors also are very good at potentially setting up an Asmodan, and this is another map that he can really work on.
I haven't seen Fnatic play with an Asmodan on this map in particular though, but they have of course with the new additions to their setup trained new strategies as well. So it could be one of the things that they're trying to do. Gamers2, Virtus Pro, both teams that occasionally play an Asmodan on this map. We've even seen bans against them. Fnatic on the other hand, haven't seen it, but it is definitely an option that they have. That's definitely true.
Team Liquid thinking about their choices now, and because Fnatic have gone just for the first 2 warriors straight away, there is a good chance they could ban one out in the next ban phase, but there's still quite a few very viable options left. And Liquid do now get first pick if they want to pick up their support.
Yeah, Liquid could go for that Uther that we already mentioned before. When it comes to damage and in general just position on the map, there's of course once again that hero that they nearly exclusively play a lot, and that is the Lost Vikings. We see in a few other teams on the European scene also play Vikings on certain maps. Virtus Pro again would be another name here. But they picked their healer first. They have been favoring Malfurion for a long time, besides Uther of course. In this case that's exactly what they're doing, and I'm super curious to see what's going to be the third pick for them now.
Yeah, they already have their first pick on damage dealer. Will they pick a tank now, just in case Fnatic does go for a ban in this case? Or maybe they will go for, like you said, the Lost Vikings, fitting them into that composition.
They could go for an Uther, they could go for Lost Vikings. If not, Fnatic has a chance to play to ban the Vikings out. If Team Liquid goes for an Uther, they could ban a Nuburak. If they pick a Nuburak here, then they have a very good setup in case that Fnatic picks up Uther. So there's a couple of compositions and a couple of like just picks and ban compositions that they could aim for right now, and it's definitely going to force the hand of Fnatic to a certain extent.
Yeah. And if Liquid had picked Uther, they could have also banned out the Rhaegar because they had the double support for themselves. They instead though pick the Kael'thas, going for that late game damage.
Yeah, we've seen Team Liquid sometimes with a double heal, but in this case they went for the Malfurion, did not pick the second healer in there, had a chance to force Team Liquid into something, but they didn't do that. They picked the Kael'thas, so they have a lot of damage already on the board. Fnatic has now the first ban, and they can ban out one of those warriors. So if the Fnatic, for example, decides to go into an Uther here themselves, and they want to rely on the Divine Shield, they could simply ban out an Nuburak.
Yeah, and that would be a very solid ban for them to go for. The question is, do they feel like it? With Team Liquid, their history, once again, melee assassins are the option, and they have in the past repeatedly run Illidan with a Malfurion and just gone for that risk. But Fnatic are banning out a warrior, but it is the Muradin instead of the Anubarak.
Muradin is banned out, and that already indicates to a certain extent that Fnatic is maybe thinking about playing Illidan here, since they are also in a situation where Reverberation of course plays against that. Fnatic, one of the teams that oftentimes plays very melee heavy. They have several players that can jump on those warriors, and especially that double warrior, one melee assassin setup is something that we have seen in the last 2 weeks a lot from them.
This is very true. Team Liquid waiting for their second ban, and they can ban out the Uther if they do want to move away from that Illidan. It would still leave Rhaegar open, but Uther currently is more preferable.
Or they ban damage. They already have Zagara, they have Kael'thas, they ban out Jaina. There's no damage on the board for Fnatic, so they can think about a ban on the melee assassin, they can think about a ban on the Uther that we said. It could be pure damage that they just say they want to deny to their opponent. A Vala, for example, there's an Azebo still on the board. So there's quite a few options for Team Liquid of what they could do. Fnatic hasn't really shown too much with 2 warriors. They just gave Team Liquid an inkling that there's still, of course, healers missing and also damage on the board.
Yeah, and there is the Illidan ban from Team Liquid, removing it. So both of the key melee assassins for both of the melee assassin players in this game have been banned out. So going to have to pull back onto second picks if either of this team really wants to go down that route.
With that Muradin ban, there was a high chance that Fnatic was trying to get an Illidan through the ban phase, so Team Liquid says right away, okay, listen, that's not going to happen. We don't have a Zeratul here, we don't want to go up against that Illidan. You have the next bans, you could pick the Uther, which they now did, and if you go up against that, it's going to be too tricky. That would force us into a Nuburak as well. They might not want to play it. Fnatic now with the Vala, with the Uther. So the 2 heroes that we've been talking about already a bit earlier, the damage for them, they had the chance to go into Nazebo, but Vala with a bit more directed damage that you can use in these team fights.
Yeah, and they do have the option to, if they want to, pick up Nazebo and just go for that double ranged damage lineup further in to try and counter the damage coming out of Team Liquid, because you want to have a great engagement and burst down that Kael'thas, as opposed to letting him just survive through the fights and just continue getting flame strikes off.
Yeah, Kael'thas is one of those late game heroes, and it's nice to see that synergy between, or well, not the synergy, but like the combination of a Zagara and a Kael'thas here. Zagara is especially strong in the early stages of the game. She has no escape, that's a bit of a problem that she has. And level 20, usually she takes the Bolt of the Storm that allows her to get out of dangerous situations. But especially when Zagara starts to also take more damage in, they also have a Kael'thas to supply the damage with even more AoE. We have the Nuburak now picked, and that leaves them actually in a very cool scenario where they can decide to go for a second warrior, but they also could decide to go for one of those specialists that we've been talking about, like for example the Lost Vikings, which they love to play on maps like Garden of Terror, but they also play a lot on Dragonshire.
Yeah, they could even play the Abathur, not as popular on this map, but has come in from a couple teams now, and again, sometimes even with a Locust build.
Yeah, with an Abathur, the problem that they have here is that there's no real copy for them available, so Monstrosity would be the choice, and we have really, really cool picks coming here at the end. Team Liquid deciding to go for utility. They go for a Tassadar. The Tassadar allows them then to simply just keep their heroes alive a bit more. It's not really played all that much on the European server. It's usually a response to a Zeratul and maybe a Zagara on the opponent's team. Especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, the hero is a bit more popular since you get with Oracle a lot of vision, and you need vision on the 2 turn-in points to really deny them to your opponent and keep the objective in your hands. But we have also a very cool reaction on the side of Fnatic again. Going into the melee assassin that we talked about, the setup really works for this. Double warrior, and you pick a melee assassin as well, so the warriors can protect the assassin to a certain extent, and they had the chance to go Uther, and they decided, even after the ban on Illidan, to go for Kerrigan.
Yeah, and Kerrigan seeing a lot of love in this tournament. And she is one of those heroes, like we said, that kind of burst damage you need to really put a Kael'thas on edge and really put the pressure on him to try and ruin his day.
And Team Liquid, of course, is under a lot of pressure here. They went into this tournament as the favorite. They just recently lost to Na'Vi already in the road to BlizzCon qualifier. Now they lose their first best of 3 here without taking even a map against Na'Vi. And they know that if they lose to Fnatic now, that they are in a very, very awkward spot, especially when it comes to the seeding positions. They won't have a chance to grab one of those top 2 spots, which they really need. Fnatic, it would go a long way for them to take down Team Liquid here. And they are in high spirits.
Yeah, you can see them smiling, chatting away before the game does start. We are just waiting for the last player to ready up, and then we will be getting into game number 1.
Mene here, he's playing the support role for the team. He was actually one of those assassins that we had for a long time on the team. It was one of those situations where he came over to Fnatic. He was a former friend of Lowell in World of Warcraft apparently, and then turned out he was a very, very scary assassin in Heroes of the Storm. But the change of players made it necessary for him to switch his role, and now he's playing the support. Wooby switched over into a more of an assassin style role for the team here, which allows him to shot call a bit better. For him it's a big impact here, and that's something which they've been saying ever since that happened. It's a lot smoother with the rotations on the map, and they will need these rotations. Dragonshy is a map where you have to be on point with them. The game now starting up, and ladies and gentlemen, the last best of 3 of the day. We have once again, of course, to the left side of the map, it is Team Liquid. Vortex on Kael'thas, we have Lucifron and Nubarak, the 2 Moreno brothers here. They've been playing WarCraft 3, they've been playing also, of course, on StarCraft 2. We have Falcon on Zagara. And we're having Black Scorp on Tassadar. And on the other hand, Grand Paquette on Malfurion.
So, we do just have a very quick pause here in at the start of the game. We'll be getting back into it as soon as possible. Looks like we are ready to go. And the game has resumed. So, right now we're just waiting for the gates to open and we will get going. Black Scorp looks like he's going to start off in the mid lane, and this is one of the lanes that Tassadar does excel at. He is able to have a repause in the game, but Tassadar is able to take control of that mid lane especially well and continuously deny the Dragon Knight while stopping that lane from being pushed in.
Exactly. So at this point, I mean, one of the things that's really important on Dragonshy is that you establish lane presence. That's one of the things that you always want to claim, since it allows you easier access to not only the shrines when the objectives comes up, but also in the mid lane, that Dragon Knight statue. So heroes that can push a lane back are extremely important here. It's also one of the reasons why a hero like Zagara is so popular these days. But the same goes for Leoric. And with the 2 tanks that we see, we're having Fnatic already in a great position to claim 2 of the lanes. But also on the other hand, Team Liquid has a lot of heroes that have good AoE that can push lanes back, and it's going to be a pretty fierce battle, especially for that bot lane where we often see tri-lanes for the teams. And
it looks like the game has been resumed, so we're going to get back into that very, very shortly. And like I said, a lot of AoE potential for Team Liquid if Fnatic do group up while trying to get those good kills in. then they're going to be in some serious trouble if they do take all that AoE damage.
Team Liquid actually in this case is not going to the bot lane here. Oftentimes you see the teams in the earlier stages moving straight into the middle and trying to go for a bit of a fight there. We're having now once again them moving straight down. Well, at least we have one rotation from Blackscorp into the mid lane for the experience. Up at the top there's currently Falcon, Grand Paquette and Lucifron, and they are trying to push in with Zagara. Traditionally, you would see Zagara on a solo lane and the bot lane being played as a tri lane, but now against the setup that we're seeing with Lowell on Leoric, they want to make sure that he's going to be pushed back, and it's going to eventually force out a rotation of Fnatic too.
Yeah, we actually see Wubby hanging around this, not going for a dual roaming squad at the moment, just hanging around by himself. But we could see a Nubarak and the Zagara in the bush, waiting to see if they could get a Kerrigan as she came to gank. Vortex and Kessel, both just giving each other respect in the bot lane.
Yeah, at the top lane though, we have now a rotation as Mene came in to help out for just a second, but it's Kerrigan and she's going to jump from lane to lane, trying to find a target here. It's difficult at the top lane with all the vision that the creep is going to give, and Lucifron was already waiting in the bush there, seeing of course the approach of Kerrigan and could force her back.
Yep, and he is able to force her back low, clearing up the minion wave very quickly, but with 3 people here, there is no way he is going to be able to get control of that top lane. Trying Blackscorp just getting out of the way of the Condemn.
It's a pretty cool setup that we're seeing for the two of them here, especially of course in those fights. It's a very melee heavy approach that we're seeing for Fnatic, so it's important for Team Liquid to really have a good position there. And Nubarak will have to be shielded a lot since he's going up as a single tank against 2 tanks and a melee assassin. Not really an easy task, but they have the sustain to make that work for him. He's going to take very defensive talents most likely, even though potential Burning Rage on level 13 could do a lot of damage considering that he's always going to be amongst at least 3 opponents.
Yeah, considering that Fnatic are running that mostly melee composition except for that Valor. So Burning Rage could be great for them. Both shrines currently in favor of Team Liquid. Blackscorp thinking about going in, but checks the bush, finds a Mena and a Breeze, so he is going to get zoned for a while here.
Mena actually walked in immediately and made sure that he was using his Holy Radiance, just that there was no channel on the Dragonite. They have 3 heroes over here. The top lane is going to be difficult to take for them, but they are trying anyways. Lowell has to use the Wraith Walk, and he does. There's no stun from Lucifron. They're not going for the target. They know they can't drop Leoric here, but both of the shrines are still under the control, or were, in the hands of Team Liquid, as Wubby is now finally capturing the one at the bot lane.
Yeah, he's able to grab that and will then continue his roaming, looking for an opportunity. Vortex, though, might be the opportunity. Kessel leaving lane, trying to bait him out in here. Lucifron also taking some damage. Kael'thas did get taken down in the bot lane by the Kerrigan and Valor.
Yeah, Kerrigan jumping in here at the top lane. We still have the tri-lane going up against Lowell. In this case, it's again in the heart and bones. We're seeing Arsenal taking for Valor, so even more lane pressure that we're seeing here. Blackscorp went for the mental acuity, which is additionally reducing the cooldown on his Oracle, so that he will have vision on the map. And I can't really emphasize enough how important this series is for the two teams. Whoever wins, if Fnatic takes it, then they are already guaranteed a slot in the upper part of the bracket at the weekend. And for Team Liquid, everything is on the line. If they lose this, then they are in the lower part. That's not where they want to be. They want to make sure that they have the best position possible going into the weekend matches.
Yeah, there is so much pressure on both of these teams here, and out goes the Oric once again, making sure he doesn't get caught. Like you said, he has taken the heart and bones. So going with the good old classic, I am ungankable build.
Yeah, we'll be jumping in, waiting with his combo, waiting even longer. And he does get nothing with his Primal Grasp. But a double root from Grand Paquette on his Malfurion, very well played. Lowell with Wraith Walk, moving back, but the stun comp is hitting hard against Johanna. She gets away after eating a lot of damage in this engagement.
Yeah, but the fact is, she did get away and is going to be able to be back to get some help. Looks like she's actually just going to go to mid lane and soak up more XP for her team. Having a look at the level 7's adaptation for the Kerrigan, and she's going very heavy on the engage and the gank, but like you said, with the amount of stuns on the side of Liquid, having that escape is invaluable for her.
Definitely, it definitely is. Yeah, you need to make that happen. Oh, and once again, Wubby is waiting, jumps in, goes straight for Grand Paquette. No stun comp yet. There it is, and they go for the kill. First blood for Fnatic. They take down Malfurion. Wubby has to use his adaptation, jumps away in the last second before Team Liquid can get a counter kill.
And that is the exactly why he took it, just in case, so we can go that extra bit of aggression and not get picked off, as he is one of the squishiest people in that push. Kessel dueling with Blackscorp here. Blackscorp winning by a massive amount, able to push Kessel back to the fountain.
And that allows them to take the shrine at the bot lane, so it's once again the fight for the Dragon Knight here in the middle. We're also seeing on level 7 the Lingering Apparition taken by Leoric and Conviction for the Condemn on Johanna, so that allows you to just speed in those fights a bit faster. Wooby is trying to channel the shrine, and there's nobody in the mid lane to capitalize on the fact that Team Liquid for a few seconds had both shrines under their control.
Yeah, Vortex was there, but Breeze with his shield glare could deny him at any point, so there wasn't much point. LOL, still just chilling up in this top lane on his own. However, though, Liquid, making a slightly different play, are starting to send heroes away from this top lane, and this could be a bit of a surprise for Fnatic.
Wooby jumping in, he wants to go for Black Score, force him into the dimensional shift, is not getting the Primal Grasp in though, has to move away as Falcon and Grand Paquette are moving in. Both of the shrines under the control of Fnatic. That Breeze cannot get the channel on the statue, but Vortex had to move out to interrupt that, so that could have been a potential kill, but Mena was not in range for a stun.
Yeah, so bottom shrine in favor of Team Liquid, top shrine in favor of Fnatic, but it is a Black Scorp on Tassadar, so he could roll in and try to steal it and maybe trade with Leoric, but Leoric is just so tanky. There are level 10s waiting for Fnatic, and they get Kael'thas in the mid lane just as their heroics hit, so now they are a person up and heroics up, but Liquid quick on their heels with their heroics.
Great burst here. Wooby jumps in. He doesn't get the full combo offer, but it was enough. He gets the Primal Grasp, and Mena is there for the stun, helping out. And at the bot lane now, they are fighting for another shrine. The same picture up at the top, where we're seeing Blackscorp going up against Lowell, but Lowell in a great position to claim this one. We're having at the bot lane still 3 versus 3 with Falcon. Entire team is there, and it's in the mid lane. Mena, he gets the Dragon Knight for the team. Great job by Fnatic. They move in for the first tower. They already have their Blessed Shield. We have the March of the Black King for them. The heroics are finally in play for both of the teams, and a great objective here for them.
More has gone down in the bot lane. Wubby pops out. Johanna, but she gets taken down. Wubby adapts to minions. The root does not land, and he is able to get out.
And in the mid lane, it's still Vortex gets punted away by the Dragon Knight. At the top, we are seeing Lowell with a lot of work against Blackscorp. Always, it's that rivalry that we've been talking about. Not really on the heroes that we expected for the two of them, but they are facing each other. Lowell is pushing them back. Mena is there now too. Again, dropping the wall, going straight for it. They get a lead in experience. It's not a big one, but it could come into play once that the level 13 talents hit.
Kael'thas has been doing an amazing job at defending against this Dragon Knight. He's been following it all over the map, threw down his Phoenix to zone it there, or to just deal the damage while the Dragon Knight attacks the buildings. Really nice job by him. And Fnatic, Dragon Knight finally going to be pulling back just as its duration is about to expire, so that Mena is in no danger.
Mena moving back. Of course, it's not ideal to have the healer on the Dragon statue unless you're running a double heal setup. But in this case, it didn't really matter too much yet. In the later stages, they will always try to put one of those 2 damage dealers in there, or even the Carrigan, depending on the game situation. But if you run a double warrior, then using one of the warriors is the normal approach if you try to capture a Garden Terror or a Dragon statue. But especially on this map, whoever is closest when you are under a lot of pressure just goes for the grab and tries to take it.
Yeah, it is so important to get that Dragon Knight due to the amount of damage it does do to buildings. You just take what you can get. LOL, he's only against Blackscorp here, so he's now actually beginning to put on some pressure. He's going to back away a little bit here in case he gets ganked, but he can take that tower basically at his leisure.
Yeah, at the top lane now also they're going both against Blackscorp. Vortex is helping out. Both of the teams now with the Bruiser camp over here. The level 13 talent already hit for Fnatic. They are once again using the sprint on Carrigan so that she can reposition herself in those fights. And against especially Kael'thas, we're seeing a spell shield coming down on Vala. So even with the Molder Shot build, not going for the Frost Shot because Vala has way too much respect for that, for the Flame Strike.
Yeah, you do not want to get burst down in that situation. Uther also taking the spell shield. Nubrak getting focused, does use his Burrow Charge, but gets pulled back in. Kerrigan gets cleansed from the counter stun. Rain of Vengeance comes down and they get him.
Oh my god, they really wanted an Uberak. They went deep for this one. They go for Blackscorp. Blackscorp with the Archer, and he tries to get away when he gets taken out. And they stun out Kael'thas as well. The more hits, but Vortex is getting dropped. Mena moved in, and now it's 3 heroes dead. Fnatic is slow. They're all over. They're getting away. Oh, they Falcon second, stunned, and they take it down too. Team Liquid is losing 4 heroes in that engagement.
And Team Liquid not only lost 4 heroes, but their fort is under serious duress. And Breeze is in fact gonna move in and finish this off. Fnatic in a very dominant position.
Fnatic with a great move. That engagement against the Nubarak was just brilliant. They moved in and they went deep for it. Even Vala with a quick vault, using her heroic ability, going for the Rain of Vengeance. They dropped everybody. They were so low, and Team Liquid thought they had a chance to move in with a few heroes and take it, but that didn't happen. Now they have the Dragonite as well. It's a lead for Fnatic, and they move in. Team Liquid with a 13 talents, but they are up against the Dragonite. Everybody on the side of Fnatic moved back, welled up, got mana and hit points, and they are in an amazing position now.
Breeze going to be moving up to the top lane here. Lol going to finally leave it as the Dragonite is able to do it. The Web Blast has been used here. Kessel having to back up as he did get a living bomb applied to him. And out comes Wobbie. He immediately jumps to grab Paketa and sprints for freedom. He is able to get out.
Sprints away, and that did not work out for Team Liquid at all. And in the meantime, Breeze was at the top lane. Only Blackscorp is there to defend against him, and the fort is being attacked. They need to rotate over, and that's exactly what they're trying to do in the mid lane. Mainly with extra experience. They want to have a level 16, and they're going to get it any second.
Yeah, and the level 16 will be very difficult for Liquid to defend again. Blackscorp is just fleeing here. His shield has expired, but he's able to get out range of Lol's Crush Drain Hope here. Bobby just turned the bot lane, waiting to see if anyone joined him.
Lol moving back, needs to be careful. The stun against the Dragonite. Level 16 is there with an opposing presence on Johanna. We have the Blood for Blood for Carrigan. No talent taken so far on Leoric, but it's a stone skin for Vala, which we oftentimes see against Gelthus just because it is
pre-damage protection.
Exactly.
And it's exactly the point. Kael'thas, once he gets to 16, the whole point is he sets you up for a load of damage, making you easier to pick off in an actual fight or to pick you off in an end of a fight. Vala nullifies that first part of that with the Stone Skin talent.
We have a double imposing presence now that Leoric picked his talent as well, and that of course doesn't only help you against the auto attacks of Falcon, but it more importantly helps you against Archon, which is going to be great here. So that front line is really difficult to breach. These two tanks are going to try to draw all the fire in these fights. Level 17 versus 15, and everybody for Fnatic is currently at the bot lane. They're trying to go for the Bruiser camp here. 7 kills against 1. So far, Fnatic has done a great job.
Yeah, they're able to pick up that Bruiser camp. Lol heading back up to his home in the top lane to begin re-pushing that. There's no fort anymore, but the rest of his team is pushing the bot lane. They do not need his help, so he's just going to wander around, killing minions, getting XP, and keeping Fnatic's lead.
Team Liquid has the level 16 talent. That's where, of course, once again, Ignite comes into play. That great talent for Kael'thas, which is like the best talent for him. The talent gives him all the damage. Second strike also for Tassadar. He's going to be pretty strong with that hindering Moonfire. They're jumping into a battle here for those bruisers, but Fnatic steals them away. Even the Phoenix can't prevent that, and Lol with the Wraith Walk gets back to safety.
They are able to steal the Bruiser camp and get out safely, but what you saw there, you can see both of the warriors on pretty much half health, and that was just from 2 flame strikes. So even at this point in the game, they still need to be very careful of Kael'thas, as his damage output has just spiked massively.
Another reason why Fnatic has to be really careful is they played a great game thus far. They are in the lead. They nearly have a 2-level lead over their opponents. But we all saw what happened when Team Liquid was able to get level 20 against Na'Vi. All of a sudden, it was an even game, and Team Liquid nearly turned it around. It was close, and that is the situation that Fnatic is going to try to prevent. They also have not taken a keep yet, and you need to try and run with that advantage and capitalize on it as much as you can, and taking a keep is kind of the minimum of what you need to do if you really want to carry this into the late game. And that's exactly why Lol is at the bot lane going for and why we have a tri-lane stomping down the mid ground.
Yeah, while this is going on, there is no Dragonite being taken for either team, but Liquid have left the top lane. Breeze sneaks in, is going to grab the shrine, but Liquid, they do find a couple members of Fnatic who are trying to retreat now. Grand Paketa coming in, wants to try and land the root, but Kessel vaults away from it. Web Blast does land from Lucifron though, and that is the setup Liquid need. They will be moving in here.
Everybody's moving over though. Lol, Wraith walks in, and they're going straight for it. Here comes the attack. Whoopi jumps in. Rain of Vengeance already being used. The more is there, but Zagara is down. It's a stun against Kael'thas. Vortex is in trouble. Vortex is dead. Here comes another last-second flame strike, but it's not enough damage. It's a triple kill. Kessel moving back. Blackscorp in trouble too. Whoopi, not even that. Goes straight for Malfurion, and it is a triple kill. It's a quad kill. It's a team wipe. Fnatic once again wipes out the entire lineup of Team Liquid.
And now they're just going to be going straight for that Dragon Knight, and they will push on to a keep. Incredible play by Fnatic, and they are in such great position here. They can probably take 2 keeps.
12 kills against 2, and they are moving in there close to level 20. They're going to get that any second now. Once that keep falls, they're in a great position. They might go for core, and they line themselves up already. They're trying to finish the game. The keep is down, and they go for core.
They're going to try focus the core. Dragon Knight on full health. Falcon is back. He's going to try and defend this, focusing his damage at the moment onto Breeze. But Kessel and Wubby are in the back. So much time invulnerable on Breeze. Keeps him alive. There's the GG. The Phoenix is not enough. And GG! And Fnatic take game number 1.
Fnatic take the first game. They win Dragonshy here against Team Liquid. Team Liquid losing 3 maps in a row now.
This is unheard of for Team Liquid, and we can see on our screen right now, Fnatic, they still, even though they just won, small smile from Breeze there, but they still look calm and composed. They are not letting this get to their heads.
This is only the first win. They need, of course, another map win this series, and as we said before, Team Liquid is strong, but right now, they look a bit shaken. After that series that they lost against Na'Vi earlier, they now lost another map. A big unexpected here, this entrance into the tournament, and Fnatic is in a great position to take this series and therefore claim a spot in the upper part of the bracket at the weekend.
Yeah, and that is a huge deal because being in that upper part of the bracket basically means you do have a safety net. If you lose a series, then you do just go down to the lower part of the bracket. Whereas, in this case, if you're in the lower part of the bracket and you lose a match, that's it.
That's not a happy face right there. They definitely do not like what's happening right now. And, well, for Breeze and his boys, that is a very happy face, exactly. For Breeze and his boys, everything is going well here. They played an incredible game. Both big team fights ended in their favor. One time they took down 4 heroes. In the last fight, they even wiped the entire lineup of their opponent. They grabbed the Dragon Knight and they went in for this one. Great play here by Fnatic, and they need now only 1 more map win to secure themselves that spot in the upper part of the bracket, and also to make sure that Team Liquid, after not losing a best of 3 offline ever, losing 2 in a row.
Yeah, so the pressure is seriously on, and you were mentioning they need 1 more map. Maybe this map will be the Cursed Hollow, as it is the next map in our best of 3 series.
Cursed Hollow is going to be a great map actually for this one, so we don't have any kind of shenanigans happening with Tomb of the Spider Queen, with maybe Haunted Mines again, which is the map that Fnatic actually prefers to play. We are seeing one of the most standard maps in this game now, and it is going to be a map where especially Fnatic thought a lot about potential drafts against like teams like Na'Vi and Team Liquid. Breeze, of course, once again on last time on Johanna. Let's see what kind of hero he's going to get this time. We had them with a double warrior setup, which worked just so well for them. The melee heavy focus in the current meta is favoring Fnatic a lot. They love to play compositions like this, and it works out extremely well for them.
Yeah, and right at the moment you said the melee focus seems to help out Fnatic. Doesn't appear to be helping out Liquid, who have for so long stood on incredible map control and on some incredible specialist and melee assassin play. But the very melee-heavy compositions that Fnatic like to run, the very stun-heavy compositions, just seem to be working out better for them.
Yeah, the question, of course, is how Cursed Hollow is going to hold. Now, we haven't seen the Abathur yet. We have seen him banned. We haven't seen him played. He is a great hero for this map. Lost Vikings is an option that Team Liquid could aim for now. They need something safe, I feel. They really need something that they're very comfortable with. They need something that they had a lot of success with in the past, because this matters not only because it is of... If they lose here, they of course lost the best of 3 series, but it's more than that. They need a victory just to have some confidence again.
Yeah, and the confidence is a huge factor here. The draft has started, and Team Liquid, with the first pick, first ban, banning out Rhaegar straight away.
They do it again. They played this already before. They ban one of the supports. They expect the Zeratul ban as a counter, and then they will move into the Uther as the first pick, therefore securing themselves a great hero that allows them to go into a melee assassin, denying it to their opponents who could play a an Illidan later on. And Fnatic, they are not banning out Zeratul immediately. They're saying like, wait a second, if they want Uther, we've seen this before. What happens if we don't ban Zeratul? Yes, they might pick the Zeratul, but then we have access to Uther Illidan. So this is a lot of mind games that are suddenly coming into play, even just with that first ban that we're seeing.
Yeah, and if they don't ban the Zeratul as well, like you said, yes, they might pick it, which leaves Uther Illidan, and if they still pick Uther to go for that target, they do ban it out though, so never mind.
They could even go for Jaina Abathur in a case like this. There's a lot of combos that you can play on level 1. Team Liquid, they picked the Uther as already assumed, and now Fnatic. Is it going to be the Jaina Abathur setup that they're going for?
They can't do Jaina Abathur at this point. That is because Liquid have already picked a support and already banned a support. So if Fnatic do that, they are death sentencing themselves to the Lili.
Well,
which has worked so far, actually.
I was just about to say, so yeah, they could definitely do it. If they say that the Jaina and Abathur outweigh the disadvantage of not running Malfurion, but playing Lili instead, then they could definitely do it. And we've seen Lili successful for Na'Vi against Team Liquid. Also, depending on what kind of composition Team Liquid wants to play, Lili is not necessarily a bad choice.
Yeah.
Imagine an Illidan for Team Liquid. If you have a Johanna with Shield Glare and Lili with the Blinding Wind, we've seen a lot of Illidan players actually having trouble, a lot of trouble with the compositions, I guess.
Yeah, if you're blind, you can't deal your damage, and all of Illidan's damage mostly comes from that auto attack, and with double blinds, that can really just ruin him. So the question is, do Fnatic feel as comfortable with the Lili as Na'Vi seem to? Nope. They go straight for the Malfurion.
All right, so they play it safe. They go for the Malfurion. They don't want to go into the Jaina Abathur. Question, of course, being, is it going to be Jaina? No, it's not. They go for the other part of the equation. They go for the Abathur in this case, which allows Team Liquid to pick Jaina now. And it would be suicidal for them not to pick her, or at least ban her out, because you never, ever want to allow an Abathur with a Jaina.
Yeah, exactly. But this is exactly the reason that Fnatic just picked the Abathur as well, because another thing that would be suicidal would be to allow Abathur with an Illidan when there's already an Uther on the board. So they just went with, well, we have to choose either Jaina or Abathur here. Which one do we think will help us more? And they pick the Abathur, and for good, and very lucky they did, as Liquid immediately go into that Illidan, and there is the Jaina, and now we're in bans.
We are in the bans, and to be honest with you, that setup for Team Liquid is sick. That is a very, very dangerous start into the draft. Having the Uther with the Illidan already and the Jaina as a setup too. You need a strong tank at the front, of course, but they have a lot of options with this. They can go double tank with it. You're having the ban starting, and I mean, Fnatic, they are looking at the Abathur, of course, so Team Liquid has to think about what they could ban out that makes sense. They ban actually Zagara. They don't really focus so much on the heroes that Fnatic has. They more think about what else is strong. Zagara is not a hero that you pick with an Abathur to have like a copy or to have like great synergy there. So in this case, they just don't want to have a hero in play that we've seen oftentimes being picked even as the super early game heroes.
And the Anub'arak ban for Fnatic is a little weird, as it is one of the heroes that we see a lot as a counter to that Uther and any melee assassin, as he's able to get to Web Blast the Uther and deny the Divine Shield to the Illidan. So banning it out makes me think that they're almost definitely going to pick a Muradin, but they're starting off at least with the Johanna. So if they are going Muradin, they're going single range damage. There's Kael'thas.
Kael'thas has been picked, and we have a Johanna, which I like the Johanna, but I agree with you wholeheartedly that the ban on Anub'arak is a bit odd, since he's one of the best tools against the Illidan, with at least the Divine Shield Illidan. And Fnatic just recently was completely destroyed by a Divine Shielded Illidan, so that they're willing to go up against that is a bit surprising. Then again, they have support with that Abathur, but I'm very curious to see what they're going for as their last pick, because I feel they need some kind of plan here. We have the Tyrael taken on the side of Team Liquid. Are they going to go for the second warrior and pick a Muradin now as well? They could take it and take it therefore also away, of course, from their opponent.
Yeah, this is an insane comp from Team Liquid at the moment. Like, this is a Hero League player's wet dream at this point, with both Illidan and Uther, Jaina for sustained damage, and the Tyrael as that burst engage for your Illidan is just ridiculous right now.
I'm very, very much interested to see the last pick from Fnatic, and Team Liquid actually going for even more damage. They go into the Vala here, which also takes another hero away from Fnatic that they could use as a copy for Abathur.
Very true indeed. So, Muradin for the last pick for Fnatic, maybe? Due to the fact that there's also a Valor on the board now, getting a reverberation off onto her could really be the difference between life and death, especially you can get both her and Illidan.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see something like that. Do you have enough damage with the Kael'thas though and the Abathur alone? Is that really enough to take down such a setup? Team Liquid has a very squishy setup. They don't really have a lot of like tanky characters, but they have characters that are very aggressive. They have a Divine Shield behind that. And Fnatic's draft for this one is definitely interesting.
Yeah, interesting is the word I would use to describe it.
I am super curious to see what they're going to pick up next. I mean, last time we saw a Kerrigan, you know, if they have some kind of surprise pick where they really say that's going to put exactly the damage that we need, they go for the Muradin. All right, so we already expected Muradin to come in a bit earlier. They decided to go into the Kalthas first instead because they wanted the damage. Muradin can go for a Burning Rage. Johanna can do that too. There are a couple of talents that both of the heroes can take that will give them additional damage, which is one of the things that they will need here. But this is very interesting since Team Liquid has a composition that, as you already said, is just absolutely amazing.
It's going to be tough, although we do have the fact that Abathur can go onto the Muradin, increase attack speed. So lots of mini stuns is something we could potentially see from the side of Fnatic.
I really want to talk to them about this composition because, like, I don't really mind that they have a Johanna and a Muradin. I think it's a great composition to have. The Johanna per se is amazing, but in this case, banning out the Nubarak is something that I really still struggle a bit with to understand, since it's just such a great hero to make sure that Illidan has a much tougher time. Illidan, the problem with you running against an Illidan with a Divine Shield is that Illidan feels like a demigod. He knows no matter what he does, he is going to be safe. He jumps into the backline, Uther's going to take reach on level 1 most likely, or is always going to stay really close to him, either way, and therefore Illidan knows I'm going to get a heal, I'm going to get Benediction heals at level 16, and before that, if I really at some point get stun locked and somebody's trying to stop me, there will be a Divine Shield, and I can just drop that backline. I can go for that Kalthas, and he is never going to survive. Illidan is going to be a happy panda here. And banning out the Anubarak, I would have thought that Team Liquid might ban out the Anubarak, not Fnatic. So this is a really curious turn of events, and I'm super interested to see what the players have to say later on. As is, though, the game is starting, and ladies and gentlemen, introducing the team to the left side of the map, down in the best of 3 series. They need a win, and they need it now. It is Team Liquid. Vortex on Jaina, we have Black Scorp on Illidan. He can show his melee assassin skills in game number 2. We have Lucifer on Ontario, Garam Pakete on Uther, and Falcon on Bala. To the right side of the map, their opponent with a 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series. They only need 1 more map win. It is Fnatic. Breeze again on his Johannas in the last game. We have Wooby on Malfurion playing this time the support role. Lol on Muradin, Kesil on Abathur, and Mene is jumping on his damage hero. He is playing Kalthas once again.
We do see from Abathur a symbiote build coming out, so just going to be jumping on those tanks, keeping them alive, well, more alive than they are already keeping themselves, and also just going to be dropping a fair amount of damage from basically a bus that carries him around so he can just fire off abilities.
An option that Muradin has with the Abathur in play with the Johanna is to go on level 16 for Give Him the Axe and get a huge amount of damage out with the auto attacks. It's not something that you see a lot, since it also, this is the same talent where you get Stoneform, and Stoneform is amazing to keep Muradin alive, especially after you use your Avatar. So it's the standard talent for a very good reason, but in this case they might feel that they need more damage, and if at some point that feeling comes up, they will talk about it, and they will say like, okay, if we have a full support Abathur here that also goes for the slowness spike burst, we can use Give Him the Axe and can try that. You don't see it all that often, but it is one of the options that they have if they feel that they are lacking the damage.
Uther also didn't go with the reach as we were expecting, has gone with what every Uther so far today has gone for, and that is the Conjurer's Pursuit, just getting that lovely mana regen so he can fire off more abilities as opposed to following that Illidan a bit further.
And that means that Illidan, of course, has to be more careful about his positioning. If Uther goes for reach, you are a lot more free in the way that you engage into a battle, because you know that your healer will have a bigger range on his heals. But in this case, Uther has to be careful. So you can't just simply use your Q and jump in no matter what. You need to make sure that the healer is in close proximity so that he's able to get the Divine Shield and the heals off.
And right now we see both teams just setting up for mercenaries. Oh no, it looks like Wobby was just switching lanes at the moment. Probably for Johanna to go and do those mercenaries, or maybe Muradin, as he looks like, no, he's just setting up for a gank.
It's actually really interesting to see that Whoopi is also a healer right now. It makes sense in the way that they had to shift a few of their players around. In case that you didn't know, we just had a recent role switch on the side of Fnatic, where Whoopi, formerly a healer, went on to damage dealers and tank, more of a flex player position. And one of the reasons why they did it is that Whoopi apparently is much freer in making the shot calls, the macro shot calls in the game, and feels way more comfortable doing that when he is not in a healer position. So that was one of the main reasons why they did it, and it worked really well for them. Now he's back onto the healer, and this might affect their play. We've been talking to them a lot about the role switches, about Whoopi and his position in the team, about the shot calling during fights, and especially the macro shot calls, and it seems to play a role. So this could definitely have an effect on the way that the game flows for them.
It does, but we have to remember that Meta did come into the team as a ranged assassin to begin with before they had those role swaps, so he is still very comfortable on that Kael'thas.
Melee is definitely very comfortable on this Kael'thas. He's very, very good on the hero. It's one of his favorite ones, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how he is going to play in this game, because he will have a tough time staying alive against Blackscop that is going to be shielded by Uther, by Grand Paquette here. The first tribute in the game goes, in this case, also to Team Liquid. They have now for Vala Manticore taken at top lane. Falcon is dishing out damage, or actually he's eating a lot of damage from Lowell, and Abathar and goes down. Nice kill here. Lowell, he doesn't have a melee assassin, but he is still playing like one. Yeah,
he's making his own melee assassin with Muradin. It's a melee assassin with CC and a lot of health, and that is very, very fun.
Yeah, that little Abathar on top of him helps, of course, quite a bit, and that is something that Vala had to experience firsthand now.
We do see Lucifer moving quite far forward here, but Maynard, Wubby and Breeze were chilling in the Death Rush, waiting to see if they could catch him, but he's able to Elduin Smite away.
Yeah, we have Conviction again for Breeze. He was really loving that talent. We have also now Frostbitten taken, Deep Chill, Arcane Intellect into Frostbitten, standard builds still for Jaina, even though these days there's a lot more Snowstorms taken on level 4.
Yeah, but instead Sustain going for coming in on the Jaina. Like you said, Snowstorms sometimes, but it's usually when you have a Malfurion or when you really just want the burst damage and the area control as opposed to a more sustained fight. But with the double tanks from Fnatic, the sustained fight would be nice. There's the stun onto Muradin, and this time there is no Abathar to save him.
Yeah, this time Lowell is the one dying. And Grand Paquette, he's been waiting a bit with the pick on the level 7 talent. But come on, buddy, we know you're all going to take Cleanse. There's just nothing else. Cleanse is so strong. There's actually a few changes in the making for Cleanse, which we have been experiencing here at Gamescom, that have been shown in the build that Blizzard is currently using for the Heroes of the Storm booth.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We'll have to see how people react to it, or whether it stays in its current form that we see here when the patch does hit. Maynard playing very far back, and for good reason. There is a Black Scorpion hidden in the bush waiting for it.
Rampant Growth taken as the level 4 talent, which is probably going to trigger a lot of discussion again. This is one of the most discussed talents on Malfurion. We're seeing in the mid lane, Breeze still with the experience. Both of the teams just like aiming for experience, trying to make that happen. And with the attempted kill against Falcon on Vala. Whoopi was there, was the Abathar kill, but Whoopi of course had another Moonfire there ready too. And there's nothing more embarrassing than getting killed by a Moonfire.
Yeah, it's pretty humiliating. Like Moonfire, Shield Glare, and a couple other abilities are quite embarrassing. Like the Web Weaver wave thing on Tomb of the Spider Quick, that's pretty bad to die to.
The Roach's Cocoon, if that takes you down, that's also like pretty, pretty low. Talking about that, up at the top again, the damage against Lucifer on rotations, and in the mid lane we're having 3 players for Team Liquid waiting for an opportunity, but level 10 hits fast for Fnatic. They have the Blessed Shield, they have the Monstrosity. They love to play that. Kaisel loves to play the Monstrosity here, always Tamagotchi style, trying to keep it safe and sound and not just simply letting it die on lane.
Low moving in here, just gonna find Lucifer, drop down his Stormbot, Thunderclap, sorry, to try and zone out. But Liquid pushing in very hard. They want control of this tribute, and it will be a curse. And Fnatic has to contest this. A nice Stormbot from Lowell, able to deny it for at least a bit. And there's the Avatar pop. They're going on to Uther.
They're going on to Uther immediately, and here comes the Rain of Vengeance. Falcon with a good one, but in jumps once again Falcon on his hero, and of course also Muradin, and there comes the Judgment. He goes straight for the backline, but there's nothing that they can do. In comes Illidan now. Blackscom is trying to do what he can. He has already the Divine Shield. Divine Shield is out, and there was a super low. That Flame Strike did so much damage. Whoa, Lowell had to move back here, but Breeze is still shielding the backline.
They are not done with this. Fnatic pushing back Liquid. Blackscorp is waiting for this though, but he will run into Lowell if he stays for too much longer. Actually, they do spot him, so Lowell's going to give chase while Maida picks up the tribute. And they're, oh no, denied by Uther there. And it looks like Liquid aren't done yet either.
Yeah, Liquid aren't done yet. They actually welled up. They went back, welled up, and now they're trying to make sure that Breeze is not going to get this tribute. Level 10 versus level 10. Still a lot of the heroic abilities already in cooldown, but Phoenix is back. They can use it for the zoning, and Mane will do exactly that. Up at the top lane, we're having Muradin, who was soaking a bit of experience, moving back down now, and they're just like chasing everybody away. So in this case, Team Liquid giving up the tribute.
Yeah, Liquid realizing that that monstrosity is still pushing the bot lane, so there's better things for them to be doing. They don't want to fight over a tribute when they could just be getting boss or de-pushing a lane, and boss is what they choose.
They go for the boss, and now Fnatic is starting the same thing. The monstrosity is still alive. Playing it, as we said, Tamagotchi style. You just don't simply YOLO the monstrosity down the lane. You always try to move it back when you see an opponent rotating towards it. And once it has his 30 stacks up, he has a lot more XP, a lot more hit points, a lot more damage, and can be a huge menace on any lane. That's why they're hunting it down already. And it also gave some vision to Fnatic, who now have the boss at the top. So there was no contestation why Team Liquid, both of the teams, have a boss and can push lanes with them.
Yeah, Liquid going to be pushing with their boss though in that bottom lane. That forces quite a few members of Fnatic to be back as they want to try and protect this fort if they can. But with Liquid pushing that hard, they may not be able to get there in time. Now Furion heading to the mid lane just to make sure they miss out on no XP.
Yeah, Lowell at the top lane is also starting to push in quite heavily. Falcon is trying to prevent it, only using a few multi-shots and arrows. Does not dare to get close enough. He gets rooted. If Lowell moves in with a stun, Abathar is there. He gets it. He gets the stun in. Thunderclap is there too. Falcon already used his vault. He goes for the heroic ability. Has to use the vault again, but in comes now Vortex. And he has still the water element. They're slowing him down. And Lowell, he knows that he's probably going to die. He's trying to get at least a kill, but Falcon gets just out of the range of the needle spider. Swoopy jumps in to save Lowell.
Oh, but Lucifer from the back kills off Lowell, and he's going to find Whoopi as well. 3 members here for Liquid will pick off Whoopi eventually. The ice block to delay as he tries to finish off Valor. The Divine Shield has to be procced.
He gets Jaina! The needle spine from Abathar in the last second, getting Jaina there. Unbelievable that he got a kill out of this. Very well done here. And that boss went all the way up to the to the wall at the keep.
Blackscorp attempting to take tribute, but Breeze with an Abathar on his head is here, and Maina hiding very far at the back, just ready to throw out those flame strikes to harass. And looks like Lucifer wants to try and deny it, but Breeze trying to hold him back. In the meantime, Abathar is in the bot lane soaking XP for Fnatic, so the longer this goes on, the better out of it they will come.
Kazel is really far out here, right at the wave, but there's nothing that Team Liquid can do about it. Once again, a slight lead, and that's 2 tributes against 2 tributes. Level 13 talents are in play with ice blocks on Jaina. We have one on Malfurion. There's an imposing will for Tyrael. A lot of defensive talents, actually, especially when we're looking at a shrink rate that we're seeing on Uther, and also the evasion talent for Illidan. But Thunderclap here on, or Thunder Strike on Lowell, very strong talent to do damage, and we are of course having the Soma transference here too.
Yeah, so Lowell is basically playing as the 1 versus 1 melee assassin, the person who jumps way into the backline and tries to take down those ranged damage dealers. Been working fairly well for him so far.
Yeah, even though he overextended a bit against Vala, he got quite greedy there, and they nearly got her, but then he of course got a gauge upon, and they at least traded for 1 versus 2, but that was a bit of a, yeah, he went pretty deep with this one.
Monstrosity helping out in the mid lane, just throwing out those spikes every now and again, keeping the pressure on. But as you can see, Kessel just pulling it back. He does not want it to die. He wants to keep it alive, so he's just going to stay on it, keep it controlled, and micro it away from Team Liquid.
You basically use it as a 5th body in the fight, and the one thing that you can do in level 20 is that you can actually go for the extra ability for the monstrosity, so that it can burrow anywhere on the map. It's pretty cool when you, for example, have a Kel'Thas or also a Jaina against you, and you just burrow up next to her, and then you can do a lot of damage. It's pretty tricky. Oftentimes we will still see Hive Mind, and especially with a Johanna and a Muradin, Hive Mind would be a great talent, but they have options that they could use.
In comes the Judgment onto Malfurion. Illidan joining in as well, but he gets knocked up by the Gravity Lapse. Out comes the Metamorphosis. They're still trying to take down Wubby. Nice raid of Vengeance. Wubby still alive, but finally Blackcom taking him down. He turns onto the Maina in the background. Falcon gave up low. He dies to the Living Bomb.
And Vortex is also trying to rush away. He's extremely low, as is Vortex. Once again, lower with Muradin. He jumps in. Blackscorp gets done. Blackscorp is dead, and they try to escape with Tyrael. It's a 2-4-2. Both teams with 2 kills, but it is Fnatic that rushes back to take the tribute.
And this will mean a curse for Fnatic. Liquid, though, do hit their level 16 first. The Monstrosity survived throughout all of that, and it's continuing to put pressure on this bot lane, while LoL begins to push mid, and Breeze joining him very shortly.
Both of the teams on level 16. We indeed have now on 16 Stone Form taken, imposing presence for Johanna, and triple blood for blood on the side of Team Liquid. On Illidan, Tyrael, and Vala, they have the Numbing Blast and Benediction, and of course Ignite finally in play. One of the strongest talents on 16 in the game, and definitely the strongest one for Kel'Thas. Mena is going to try and use that in these fights, and currently Fnatic is looking really good. It is still a 1-0 in the best of 3 series in favor of Fnatic.
Now Furion finally picking his level 16. He goes for the Tenacious Roots, giving his team an extra lockdown. They actually do get the start onto Vortex, pull him in, but they do not follow up on it. Just force Vortex to back up, but they got a 4 and they get the towers here.
Blackscorp at the top lane, getting additional experience. The bosses will be up in just a few seconds. Down to the bot lane, we already see that. Lucifron is there, rotating over. And we have the same on the side of Fnatic. We see, again, the Monstrosity coming into play now as well. Abathur is using that as much as he can. And this game is super close right now. 5 kills versus 5 kills. Level 16 versus level 16. And both teams, again, aiming for the boss to try and drop the first keep of the game.
They want that kind of aggression. Abathur has moved back a bit from his forward position in the bot lane, as that lane is incredibly pushed up now. And both teams, neither one wants to push with their Golem. Instead, just rotating straight away to where the enemy Golem is going and grabbing their easy camps, at least in the case of Fnatic, on the way. And yeah, Liquid going to be responding in in kind. There we go.
Everything is on the line here for the 2 teams. They won, especially for Team Liquid. They already lost to Na'Vi. They cannot afford to lose against Fnatic if they really want to end up in the upper part of the bracket at the weekend matches. We have the bot lane pushed by the boss. There are those 2 siege giants that we talked about, but Team Liquid, they are now being engaged upon Fnatic. They want to fight. Fnatic want to fight. They jump in with everything that they have. The stun is there. They kill against Uther. He's already down. A cleanse coming in to save Lucifron, but suddenly Blackscorp is getting engaged upon. They are trying to jump in and they jump for it. He dashes away. He goes really deep for this one, trying to escape, but Uther is now down and it's a 5 versus 4.
Tyrael escapes via teleport over the wall. Blackscorp leaping to a siege camp to escape, but it's still a 1-0 in favor of Fnatic, and they're now just going to take this easy camp and use it for their own advantage. The boss in the bot lane is being defended by Abathur during all of this. Monstrosity is still here, so he's just going to help them push out Abathur, jumping on it so it doesn't start tanking the keep.
Fnatic is trying to make a play here. They have a 5 versus 4 situation. They're just like lingering around, waiting a bit, trying to protect those 2 siege giants. But Vortex comes in, does a lot of damage. That flame strikes though, so much damage at work here. And Fnatic, they move in once again, but it's a 5 versus 5 again. We have Uther back to business.
Uther is back, like you said, and that means they can go for an engagement if they want to, and Fnatic know this, so they're going to be backing away from this. And the question, well, there's another tribute for them. They are completely reset after that curse, so this is something Liquid don't need to worry about. They can just spend their time clearing the lanes and, well, not diving into a tribute when they don't need to. Just clear lanes, get mercenaries, keep themselves in the game in terms of XP.
Even with the additional kill on the side of Fnatic, the experience is even now. We have once more the tribute taken by Fnatic. They are waiting. They are trying to take the Bruiser camp over here and are rotating over already at the bot lane. We're having LoL pushing the lane back. They're trying to get experience. They're trying to hit the level 20 faster than their opponent. But Team Liquid is currently everywhere. They're taking camp after camp, trying to just like push that out. And it's going not. I don't think that any of these teams is going to be able to establish an advantage on level 20 with the additional talent.
Yeah, like maybe the Monstrosity Tunnel might actually be the right choice here. Like Hive Mind would be lovely, but he's been using this Monstrosity basically as a hero this entire game. He's been following the team almost permanently and taking part in every single team fight.
Yeah, but especially with Mirrodin and Johanna, he has two great options. I mean, you just said it, the Hive Mind talent would be amazing for him. Abathur can take that. It's going to be a great 20 fight once that we have it, but now both of the teams on level 19. 5 kills versus 6, and the Tribute is in the game again. It would be curse against Fnatic. Team Liquid can let it go, but they don't want to.
Yeah, they want to try and take this if they can, because they were already down here. See a bit of damage onto Lucer from Blackscorp. Coming way around the back here. He's just trying to avoid everything and find Maina. But now he finds most of the... In they go, though, onto Maina here. He's backing up, staying in the tranquility, and they take down Tyrael.
They want Kel'Thas, but they don't get him. And again, Blackscorp, where's his healer? Nowhere to be found. Grandpacket is trying to move in. He gets the Divine Shield in. There comes the Rain of Vengeance. Vala is trying to save the escape path of Illidan, but Illidan is jumping away, gets healed again everywhere, the roots, and it's Vala that might die here. With a quick ball, she gets away with the Monstrosity, with the kill, Abathur takes her out.
Rampaketa is still alive here. He's running away from Wubby. Wubby gets the... No, he doesn't get the root. There's the cleanse. Blackscorp, once again, went super deep and takes a Flame Strike, and this will be Blackscorp down.
Blackscorp is dead, and only Uther running away. Tyrande down here. The Monstrosity. Vortex is doing what he can.
He has the tunnel.
He has the tunnel. He goes in. There's the ice block, and Jaina is dead as well. 10 kills against 6. They get the Tribute. They had the mid lane pushing the entire time. 20 versus 20, a double Storm Shield. We have the evolution complete. Demonic form now on the side of Illidan, but what a fight, and Fnatic with a lead in the game. It's only a slight one though. Still, no keep has fallen.
Monstrosity actually tunneling all the way back to base so it could gain all its health back.
Tamagotchi style.
Yeah, just rejoining the fight when it's needed. But Fnatic suddenly looking really, really good. 10 kills to 6. Finally have an advantage, have a visible advantage, as opposed to everything being so close up to now.
Team Liquid, they have a chance to come back here. I mean, there's no real advantage for Fnatic just yet. Both of the teams aiming again for the boss, but bad luck for Fnatic, real bad luck. The Tribute is going to spawn at the bottom of the map, and that's the perfect position. The perfect position for Team Liquid. They can get boss, they can get the Tribute, and they will do exactly that at the top. The boss is being attacked right now. Uther, the Monstrosity is there! He gets it in! That's not gonna be a curse! He gets the Monstrosity in play. Oh my god,
He's going in!
No way!
On the Johanna! They're going on to Lucifer! Lucifer, the only one in the circle. Blackscorp's on Maina in the background. Divine Shield has these
Falcon! Falcon tries to keep him alive, but at the same time they're jumping in again. Vala is about to die. Tyrael is dead. Tyrael is dead. Uther is dead. They go for Vala. Everyone is just dying. They steal the boss away. 2 bosses against them. Oh my god.
Blackscorp gets 2 members. He's continuing to go. He's trying to run away. Uther's back with him, and they turn it onto Johanna. But in the meantime, Mirrodin was able to steal the Tribute and get the curse. Fnatic. Breeze is fighting his die, but the Monstrosity is going to be chasing. It's tunneling somewhere.
Lowell is moving in against Blackscorp. He's jumping in. Lowell with the attempted kill. Illidan is stealing it. Where's Abathur? Abathur is not there yet. He could try and burrow him, but he can't.
Monstrosity tunneled onto the core. It's got the core with the boss.
No way, 2 bosses.
Sit down. Blackscorp try and take down the boss, but with the Monstrosity as well. Will it be enough? There's so much damage.
It has to be. The boss is moving in. There's a second boss going to the creep at the bottom. It is enough. GG! Team Liquid defeated twice in a row. Fnatic takes the game. They win it without dropping a map here. A 2-0 victory for Fnatic, and they find themselves in the winner bracket tomorrow.
Well, just a quick story here. While we were talking, we spoke to Kessel about the fact that he likes the Monstrosity, where he informed us that when he tunneled in on people, he likes to make Jaws noises. So that was been amazing. Just onto the court.
Crazy play, and Lowell as he jumped in again, putting more pressure onto Blackscorp. He had no hit points, couldn't do anything. 2 bosses, they steal it away. One at the top lane, the one at the bot lane. Kesa with the Monstrosity denying the Tribute, so picking it up himself, and later on, unbelievable. And Team Liquid losing 4 maps in a row after not even losing a single best of 3 thus far in offline tournaments.
Times are a-changing. Just what a play by Fnatic. And now that does make the series very interesting. As we can see, we have 2 teams who have gone 4-0 in terms of maps and 2-0 in terms of matchups, and those are Na'Vi and Fnatic. So those teams are guaranteed to be the upper bracket.
Unbelievable plays here. What a game. The last game was absolutely insane, and those Avatar plays especially, that was crazy stuff. Black Scorp so deep at times with his Illidan jumping in, and you could really see Grant Paqueta trying to keep up with him, running into that fight, dropping that Divine Shield in the last second to keep them alive. Really well played for Fnatic, and I can't wait. I mean, this is amazing. I can't wait to see the games tomorrow. I mean, Na'Vi versus Fnatic is going to be good.
It is going to be good, but for now, it is time to give the stage interview to our winning team with Clutch and Lowell.
Thank you, gentlemen. Fnatic, congratulations. You've done it once again. Lowell, we saw your team go crazy in that matchup. The first question I want to ask is what the commentator said a little bit earlier on about Abathur. We haven't seen a lot of his play so far in this tournament, but in the last game, you guys brought Abathur. What is it about that character that really helped out your team?
The monstrosity is like Keziel's little brother or his son, so like we know he's the best at that. He made people start playing that. We know he can carry us with that. We picked it and he carried us.
And we saw it used very well, especially getting that kill against Jaina, punishing those mistakes from Team Liquid. Second question, that chaotic team fight towards the end. When you have so many moving pieces on the board, how are you able to oversee everything and to execute so well as we saw Fnatic do against Team Liquid?
It wasn't chaotic. Like for us, like we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted Joanna to peel for our team. We wanted me to go full suicide in their backline and to just force them to stay in the backline. It worked every fight, so like it doesn't matter if we lose people. Like on that last fight, we lost some people, only because I left the fight to cap the tribute because I knew our boss would finish anyway, top lane. So we wouldn't have lost anyone on that fight. Maybe one guy, that's it.
It's not chaos if it's controlled, and you guys were definitely in control. Finally, Lowell, what would you like to say to everybody watching and congratulating you on this significant victory?
It's only the beginning. Much better things to come.
All right, Lowell, again, congratulations to Fnatic. That does it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back tomorrow in the morning for day 3 of the WCA Pro Qualifiers for Europe. A huge thank you to everybody here at Gamescom. We had a terrific audience, and we'll see you tomorrow bright and early in the morning. On behalf of everybody here at WCA, thanks for watching. Good night and good game.